3, 2, 1.
The following Pulpery podcast is brought to you by The Goddamn Sauce. Go to thegdsauce.com for details to order all the sauces to replace your ordinary condiments. Welcome to the Pulpery Politicscast with Brock and Ben. This podcast is where we discuss the political headlines that intrigue us and all those little jerks that enrage us.
Mitch shit himself again. Just gonna say it.
Well, I mean, if there's nothing wrong with this man, he was soiling himself. Which,
correct.
If that's the case, hey, buddy.
Hey, man. I look forward to the day that I can just stand in front of a group of people in a three-piece suit.
Let it go.
Let it go.
Let it ride.
The best part was his handler, because they're not assistants, they're not interns. His handler. Senator, did you hear the question?
Mm-hmm. Then he needs one like James Brown had, like throw a cape on him,
right?
And then he could throw the cape back off. And
when
then
he comes
I'm
back. This man
hit me again.
So how old is he? 81?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is apparently the new 65.
Man, I am a teenager still.
Yeah.
Fucking right.
Let's just make up the world we live in. How about it?
We got an 81-year-old politician supposed to be representing people of Kentucky. Oh, Kentucky. Milwaukee. Kentucky.
Algonquin for the good earth.
There it is. So this man is tasked with representing he can't even
the whole
talk.
the whole state, mind you.
Right.
Not like a district.
And he's like state. Second or third in command at this point still.
Yeah.
Oh.
Don't touch the boom, man. I forget.
He's still high up there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he has a lot of power in the government.
Okay.
That's the main thing.
Which is why I was saying he's still number 2 up there, but there's a whole bunch of shit going on at the top there.
He's not in line for the presidency. I don't. Yeah.
Thank Christ.
If I recall correctly, but
eventually we would get to him.
Yeah.
Eventually.
After like Pete Buttigieg gets assassinated.
I hope that doesn't happen ever.
Ever, no.
So okay, that's the start of it, and then we get into what it's looking like. Presidential nominees at 77, Biden, who will be 78 by the next election, or will be 77 by the next election.
God, I thought he was over 80. I thought Biden was over 80. And that's a hard 77.
Not as hard as his competitor, who is 3 years younger than him.
Hey, man.
Although he is a svelte 6'3", 215. He is svelte. Weighing in at 2.1 stone.
He could be playing in the NFL, I'm just saying.
Or hear me out. Somewhere else. So, but this is a bigger thing. And Feinstein?
Yeah.
How is that skeletal remains still in charge of constituents? Did I say that word right? Constituents?
Yeah, I mean...
Okay. I just have to check myself, and you all know. I have to check myself all the time. But there's a handful of them, an alarmingly large number of people, and I have nothing against old people. But the United States goes, man, people over 70 need to have their driver's license taken away.
Yeah.
But we have them making decisions for us.
It's one where...
Go ahead. I'm not going to cut you off.
I don't know. I kind of also look at it as, like, with, like, Mitch McConnell. Your face when that was creaking, too, was too perfect. You kind of, like, you want to go to his wife, like, hey, like...
She's still getting paid.
I know.
By somebody.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she was just our transportation secretary.
That's
so.
what she's...
But I mean, same with, like, Dianne Feinstein's family. Like, somebody needs to have the power of attorney conversation.
Didn't she already have one?
Yeah, I mean, and then now, there's a whole debacle with that in which there's elder abuse and shit. But from the trust,
I was going to ask,
from the trust, not her family, as far as I heard about it.
That makes sense.
But
they're going to get a cut of that anyway.
It's bizarre because I think it's extreme to start proposing amendments, putting in age restrictions. But you're talking about something that has to 3/4 of the states have to sign off on
to make it federal.
Right, because that would require a change in the Constitution because there are no age limits in the Constitution.
Oh, you're right.
There's minimums, but there's not maximums. So
yeah, but
it would require an amendment.
All right, hear me out now.
Now
when
you
that was
have
written, I'm thinking the lifespan of a human was maybe between 60 and 70.
No, well, and to a lot of these dudes' credits, I mean, I don't want to get on that
No, we don't.
molehill, but they're getting the best health care in the fucking world. I mean,
Right.
You're getting checked out at Walter Reed in Annapolis. So
hey, I went to Walter Reed every year for several years
there you go.
for these ailments.
But at the old one, not at the brand
Correct.
new one. Yeah.
I haven't been to the new one.
Yeah. So
God, I love that hospital. Fucking place. I
exist because of that hospital. So
yep. I've been treated at the same hospital as some of the. Never mind.
Which is, but that, I'm just saying is, I mean, we are getting to that point of, in future generations, 80's not going to be that big a deal. Problem is, it's a dividing line.
So term limits? That way you don't touch the age, you just touch term limits?
Again, that's an amendment. It's going to be really hard to get 75% of the states to go.
Maybe not now, but in 5 years?
Possibly.
Because it is trending younger.
I mean, the other thing is that, I mean, it's usually the way that this goes is, and not to sound like a teenager, but it's the boomer generation. They are going to hold on to everything with
That's what I'm saying. No matter what happens.
God forbid you pass it off. I mean, how many legit Republican candidates in Kentucky could have taken over for Mitch McConnell, say 12 years ago?
That's what I was just about to say. In the past 14 years.
But it's that thing of no, I have to have the power.
And I get it. And this is going to sound really bad, but it's that old white man mentality. Okay, those people in that top 5-10% in age, they don't need to be fucking working.
Well, I was going to say the Economist had an article about how CEOs are refusing to step down.
Why? You worked 4 years as a CEO. You can go live wherever the fuck you want forever.
Right. There's no financial rationale to it because everything's already taken care. I mean,
right.
Mitch McConnell doesn't have to worry about money.
Anything for the next 6.5 months till he dies. I'm just saying.
I mean,
even their kids and grandkids are fucking taken care of.
Right.
Not that they give a shit.
But to me, that goes more down to the idea of what are these families doing? Even to, frankly speaking, for Joe Biden, I would probably say the families probably had that conversation. They would go if he's not if Joe Biden's not in political office, he's going to go downhill fast.
He seems to be, and again,
he needs purpose, particularly with all the Hunter Biden shit and all that. So,
and good on them for if they're going to really do that to him.
Yeah.
I mean, if he's having sex with hookers and doing cocaine with guns, then and embezzling money or whatever he's doing, go to fucking jail. You broke the law. Don't care.
Sure.
Go to fucking jail.
Don't worry, Marjorie Taylor Greene's getting a boner over it anyway.
Oh God, she's probably got 2 of them. 2 boners.
Boni.
Oh God, we just coined it for you. How do you spell that? Boni. Boni.
Anyway.
Does the O need the 2 umlaut? Yeah. So I guess there's got to be a tipping point for this, or is everybody just going to be like, meh, we're okay. We've been doing this for hundreds of years, and what you say.
It might require somebody literally dying on the House and Senate floor.
Because we've had...
Or during a State of the Union address.
That's what I'm saying. We've had representatives die,
Yeah, I mean, mid-office. Well, I will say this. McConnell, too, will not want, at least in the current state of Kentucky, he's not going to want to retire or bow out because they have a Democratic governor.
Oh, so that's his...
And the governor appoints replacements for senators until the next election cycle.
Well, I'm thinking the next election cycle for a few of these should go...
Yeah, they should pass it on to their chosen successor.
Which is why Biden's going to end up fucking us, man. And...
Well,
I know there are backup plans in place. I've heard there are rumblings of a couple of people...
Sure. But you look at the poll now. Granted, like on the Democrat side, there's nobody else has thrown their hat in the ring.
No, because it's the incumbent.
Nobody's going to fucking take our RFK Jr. seriously anyway. So
I still can't believe he's running as a Democrat. That's fucking bonkers. Go ahead.
But per the polls, national polls, people want to see Biden and Trump. They want to see the two octogenarians go at each other again, which is...
That's just for spectacle at this point. Like,
sure.
People aren't taking... I'm not going down that rabbit hole.
Well, but so, like, you're also talking about, like, if we're taking the GOP, this is the same group that, some of the people in the GOP, Trump supporters as well, criticize Vivek because he doesn't have the experience. Yet... Donald Trump didn't have political experience.
Or any of his cabinet.
Right. Or somebody we will get to in the next segment because we're running out of time. Coach Tuberville.
Hey, man. I'm Coach Senator. Senator Coach. Yeah. Coach Senator Tubby.
Well, fuck it. We don't need that much time to talk about that piece of shit. But, like, this man who coached college football but apparently is capable enough to block every military appointment.
He was a not winning coach. Just saying.
He had a couple of good seasons.
Did he win a trophy?
No, he doesn't have a ring.
He's not a winner.
No, he doesn't have a ring.
No, he might have won the SEC West a couple of times.
But I mean,
go ahead.
I'll ask you as a military brat. I mean, I think no matter what your dad's true leanings or something like this should be driving any ex-military person like nuts.
Well, what blows my mind is
blocking military appointments.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The GOP. That's what they built.
Aren't they all about the troops?
Correct, and they're all about like strong military. So I don't understand what everybody's thinking. My dad, me, knowing how the military works. And it's not just we're not appointing somebody, but like that somebody has a wife who has a job,
right,
at a realty company or something, and he's got two kids, one in middle school and one in elementary, who have to make new friends anyway. That you're holding all of that up, and they don't know what the fuck is going on.
Sure.
So it's not just...
There's that practical implication, but we have two positions on the Joint Chiefs of Staff that are vacant.
Which is like having a football team without a head coach.
Yeah, we have or you have no offensive coordinator and no defensive coordinator. You have
none of it.
Like the Marines and the Navy are vacant right now. And
everything works. You hear the term shit rolls downhill. In the military, the chain of command is it.
Yeah.
Like that's full stop. And if you don't have someone at the top, all hell's going to break loose. And people are like, no, but what happens if this Russia-China thing comes?
We want to take this time to thank you for supporting the Pulpery Podcast. We are available on all podcast platforms, so please follow us and turn on the downloads. You can always delete them later. If audio is not your thing, we are on YouTube. Check out our page and hit the subscribe button, like our episodes, and share with all your friends. Follow us on all the socials for our latest content, and additional takes on the latest stories and news. If you need a change for your taste buds, go to thegdsauce.com and change the way you think about the way you eat. From their signature goddamn sauce to their ghost pepper sauce, they have everything you need to rethink condiments. Help support an independent business by getting rid of your same old condiments and boss up with the goddamn sauces.
Ron DeSantis, penis. Ron DePeanut. Ron. I'm convinced that somebody is controlling him as a joke.
Well, I'm just saying.
Like he's the
We
AI.
may not know much, but we did kind of predict this last week when we were when the hurricane was about to hit. We were a little off on.
Well, no, I said no. He's going to do
on the hurricane's trajectory, but that dude's just like he's
he
like
did
a
what Sarah Huckabee
playbook.
Sanders
Yeah.
did, but she fucking went back on it because she can't see which way she's going. Ron DePenis just went straight. Fuck it. Well, I don't need federal funds.
In a state that is no longer insured.
And he's still got fucking counties that are destroyed from whatever the one was last year.
Yeah.
This motherfucker.
He's going to be responsible for a mass exodus.
Okay.
I mean,
if
at
Disney
least
finds land,
rumors are true.
If Disney finds land in
Kansas.
Yeah. Any one of those states where it's not
Louisiana's got a bunch of fucking land. How about that?
We're below sea level. They can't do that shit. But yeah, Middle America, which is yes, they get harsh winters, but you can still run.
Or what if you
9 months?
did like North Louisiana, Southern Arkansas, and then they make them a papal state, like where they're their own entity?
We have the Vatican in the United States with Mickey Mouse as the Pope.
Yeah.
You just blew my fucking mind.
Oh, let's not beat around the bush. Bob Iger would be the Pope, but yeah.
Whoa. How about the Four Corners?
There you go.
We'll just put it there.
Yeah.
Murder's legal there anyway. This arbitrary spot in the land.
There's no rules. There's no law.
I'm glad that like you showed me the light on that. Because I was all like, oh no, man, this is 4 states. No, it's a fucking arbitrary dot. Like somebody went, here. Who knows if that guy was drunk on whiskey?
I forget what tribe lived in there. I don't want to say like Apache or Comanche, but yeah, like probably when they were like, hey, this is here, they're like, no, that like used to be my home.
Right. like, what are you talking about? You want to change time zones and everything right here? But at any rate, yeah, when that happens, and it's close, when you've got insurers, and I read an article where insurance companies are trying to do the whole we're not going to insure for natural disasters in high disaster areas.
Areas, yeah. Which means we're fucked too.
Well,
so.
but I didn't hear us as one of the big ones. It was like Florida and like Tornado Alley and parts of California where earthquakes. Like, it wasn't anything major yet. So, yeah, and all those boomers, snowbirds who retire there.
That's a beautiful parapraxis, my friend.
Yep.
Right there.
Like, what are they going to do? Man, we're moving to the best state ever. No taxes,
But guess
no
what?
insurance, no libraries.
Arizona's about to get a big bump in population.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
So what is Carrie Lake going to do? Fuck, she's probably going to try to get vice president.
She'll have to learn a little Yiddish and
that woman. Okay, so sticking with this relief, he voted against it several times for other states. I think he even voted against the one in Texas, the Houston flood. Maybe he wasn't in office then.
no. I mean, he's only made governor. I mean, he can only do Florida.
But don't they vote on? Never mind. We're not going to get into it.
No. Governors
just
don't
for
have that.
state.
Yeah.
Who votes for? Nobody votes for federal funding for a. Let's say Louisiana needs money for a hurricane.
So it's,
We requested as a state,
well, technically, all the governor has to do is declare a state emergency,
right?
and then FEMA automatically
comes in.
Yeah.
No vote, no, I'm against
No, that's
it,
an
and-
executive decision.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I stand correct.
Now, I mean, in probably certain circumstances, if it goes on long enough, the state houses could vote to then authorize a state emergency. Yeah.
Okay. How does Puerto Rico work in that?
Well, because they're a territory, they don't actually have rights. So
Oh, yeah, we've talked about that
they're just
almost every week.
subjects. They're subjects of the republic.
Christ. Poor bastards.
They're
So-
like Gaul.
Okay. Those poor human beings.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got Tuberville refusing to appoint heads of major military.
One man.
One human.
Yeah.
And then you've got a governor refusing federal funds, right? You've got infighting. Nobody wants to fund Ukraine because they want to fund immigration reform or whatever.
Right.
And meanwhile, we've got Russia, China, and I'm assuming
People's
North Korea.
Yeah.
I'm assuming them, even though it
Okay,
hasn't
I
been.
gave them the right, or what they call themselves, but yeah, North Korea.
North Korea. I refuse to give them that unless they're in the Olympics, and then the Olympic athletes have nothing to do with it. So
Yeah.
then they can become the People's Republic. But North Korea.
It is not for the people. It is not a republic.
Okay, you're right.
Yeah.
No, you're right.
The K is the only true part of that.
Korea
Yeah.
as a whole.
Oh.
So we've got all this shit, and what terrifies me more than like Trump becoming president, because that is a real thing, and we will be completely fucked. But the new.
Well, no. So the thing you have to remember about that is Soviet Russia influenced China,
Right.
and then China influenced North Korea.
Correct.
So now what you have is a realignment,
Yes.
or a I can't think of the term, but I'm stuck on it, and I'm sorry, but they're now joining back together, which, I mean, of course, that's not a big surprise. Like,
You know what this is?
Putin was a KGB agent, so he always
Here we
loved
go. It is a VH.
the Soviet
it's a
Socialist
VH1 special, getting the band back together,
yeah,
and that's what these assholes are doing.
of the band that you never wanted to get back together.
No, it's like Nickelback got back together.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Real quick, speaking of music, rest in peace, Jimmy Buffett. You were a Saints fan. I love you. Never liked your music.
Also, Gary Wright,
Yeah.
Dreamweaver,
there was-
passed away.
There was another one, too.
There was, yeah.
I won't go there. Just rest in peace. We do a...
I love me some Gary Wright, though.
But we do an
That's a
obituary
fantastic-
almost every week, it
Yeah.
seems like. God, that's sad. So if these three really get on the same page,
Yeah.
everybody else should be very worried.
Right, because they're not, I mean, as Russia is already, well, so the other part that is terrifying about it is if you look at what Russia's doing in Ukraine, which is, so why are they trying to expand
Yeah,
into
what's the
areas?
point of that? You know what that is? I've played Risk.
Right, but resources.
Yep.
And like whether it's like economic, like they need more land, or they need, but the Donbass region and all that is heavy in wheat and grain.
That's what I'm saying. You take...
So we're back
land
into
and-
World War I scenarios where
Right.
you have, they're trying, in this case you can't be imperialistic anymore, but you're trying to expand and control other countries so that for the resources that you need
This happens to be wheat.
to either, but so the
We've
part
done
that's,
oil
Right.
forever.
So, but the part here that's different than say like World War One or what led up to World War One, which is you had booming industry and all that, so you needed the resources for this. You have 2 or 3 countries that need to re-legitimize themselves. So
Yeah.
Putin's Russia has been flailing and failing. I mean, to where his own right-hand man led a mutiny against him, and then he mysteriously dies in a plane crash.
No. There was a malfunction in that
Sure.
plane. What's wrong with it? It ran into some birds, like Sean Connery. And the fucking
Too bad Sully wasn't flying that plane.
See?
China's economy, I'm not going to say it's starting, well, it's crashing. Whether they can recover from the crash. I mean,
this probably has a lot to do with
yeah,
them recovering from
exactly.
it. Yes.
And then, of course, North Korea is always looking to legitimize themselves.
Correct. They're always looking for someone just a bit bigger than them to go.
So they're like Japan in World War II. It's
Exactly.
like, well, we're going to tack on with Germany and Italy because we want to be seen as the big the big raw dog in the Pacific.
That's North Korea.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. No.
So, I mean, if this does continue, this is a prelude to a world war. Now, whether we're talking about nuclear World War III, I highly doubt that.
Nobody's dumb enough to do that.
Well, because
it will start with
you destroy
trade.
major cities, then your economy collapses.
Correct.
That's the reason China doesn't invade the United States, because we buy every fucking thing from China. Everything we wear, this pen was made in China.
Every one of Donald Trump's made MAGA were made there.
Yeah.
Or maybe the Philippines, because I guess labor's cheaper there.
Sure. I don't know.
So,
I'm sorry. Now you.
No.
I went on my history diatribe there, so.
I guess
it's scary.
Yes.
It's scary as shit.
That, right?
Yeah.
And then we've got the infighting here. And,
right.
And let's not get it twisted or anything. We are still a superpower when it comes to military. Superpower. And yeah, we have allies, but we have so much shit going on here. Putin could attack, I don't know, Portland, Oregon.
No. So
and the Republicans would be like, I don't know, man.
The worry's got to be, say, like a country like Finland that just joined NATO. So if Putin thinks our military's weak, he doesn't think much of Great Britain and France.
Yeah, no.
So it's like, all right, fuck that. I'm going to go into Finland now. What's
south of Ukraine again?
Well, that's the Black Sea. Or if he decides
one of the stands,
he decides to do the Baltics.
There,
so
okay,
like
that's
Estonia, Latvia, and them, like they're all part of NATO. And then he forces NATO in, thinking like the United States is NATO.
Right.
Which, I mean, like,
technically,
a lot of people have made that mistake before, and then they have to, Nobody thinks much about the French, but
yes,
they can definitely get into it.
I'm gonna hold the mic for the last minute and a half. God damn it!
Pull a Freddie Mercury.
Yeah, I have the shoes in there. Okay,
but either way, like that's the way that could play out, and then, yeah. I mean, I guess what like. I don't know what China would want. I mean, China still has the people. And they built. Well, China would go for Taiwan, which would be their move.
Yeah.
And North Korea would cross the 58th parallel. So,
well, what happens to Japan then?
Well, I mean, Japan's on our side. So, but I don't. Do we allow Japan to have an army?
I don't believe so.
I don't.
That's why we are stationed over
under
there all
that
over the
old
place.
German rule.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, we would be on the Asian front.
Right.
Yeah.
We would have to be.
Yeah. And then we'd have to leave the rest of the NATO countries to fight on the
which
Eastern
leaves
front.
Europe to Putin and whatever he wants to do or tries to do.
But then
while Marjorie Taylor Greene helps fucking
puts up dick.
The following Pulpery podcast is brought to you by The Goddamn Sauce. Go to thegdsauce.com for details to order all the sauces to replace your ordinary condiments. Pulpery is a privately produced podcast by Brock Ryder and Ben Grimmy on social media and photography by Beck Ryder. Original music by the Heisenberg Compensators.